when your body is constantly secreting insulin, anytime you have the persistence of any hormone in a biological system, you are going to become resistant to that hormone, because hormones are supposed to work in pulses. They're supposed to work in a pulsatile manner. Hormone secretion should not be a constant secretion. However, when you eat 6 meals a day, every 2 to 3 hours throughout the day, you're facing the foundation of insulin resistance. Now, with insulin resistance, you're going to get told the story that the cells are no longer responding to insulin the proper way. So now the glucose is not able to go into the cells because the cells are resistant to insulin, right? And if you ask the question, why are the cells resistant to insulin? You're going to get told that we don't really know. It could be because fat. It could be because of inflammation. It could be because it's all gummed up. You're going to get told multiple things about why insulin is no longer able to go and activate the cell to allow glucose in. Also, you're going to get told that the reason why you feel fatigued when you have insulin resistance is because you're suffering internal starvation. All right. And this, again, is not true. When we look at someone who has type 1 diabetes, let's switch over real quick. Type 1 diabetes, these are people who truly have internal starvation, because type 1 diabetes, their pancreas no longer has the ability to secrete insulin. Once again, insulin's job is to escort glucose into the cells. Well, since they don't have that, glucose is going to build up in their bloodstream. And so type 1 diabetes was something that was traditionally diagnosed in kids. The way they would know that a child, or they would have an idea that a child is type 1 diabetic, is because one, extremely hard time gaining weight. They would look emaciated. Then two, the mother might complain of the child's urine smelling sweet because all of the glucose that they're just urinating out, because the body's going to naturally send it to the kidneys and the kidneys are going to urinate it out. So their cells, the reason why they have a hard time gaining weight is because, once again, the insulin is not there to put it in there. So their cells truly are starving because they don't have the ability to get the glucose into those cells. However, when we look at type 2 diabetes or someone who has insulin resistance, let's keep it 100. We can't say that these people have internal starvation. They just don't, because they don't look like what true internal starvation looks like, which is type 1 diabetes. What we're dealing with over here, and this is the part you need to write down, research, test me to it, hold my feet to the fire. But your cells are not starving. Your cells are actually stuffed. Your cells are at full capacity. When we're looking at someone who has type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance, the reason why the cell has become resistant to insulin is because it already has enough glucose. Insulin is trying to put glucose into the cell. If you constantly are eating every 2 to 3 hours, 6 meals a day, and insulin is constantly there, knocking on the door, trying to put glucose in, the individual is not walking, they're not active. And how much glucose do you think you can fit into a cell? How much glucose are you going to try to fit into that cell? And so, since our bodies are intelligent and it understands what's going on moment by moment by moment, the body is now going to make an intelligent decision, an intelligent adaptation, an appropriate response to downregulate the insulin receptors. And that is what insulin resistance is. It is your body making the intelligent adaptation to downregulate the insulin receptors, because glucose is no longer needed. Glucose is no longer needed. Until you deal with the glucose that we already have in this cell, we don't need it. Now, when we decrease the glucose by, moving and doing other activities, then we'll need more glucose. So that's what insulin resistance is, right? Everybody follow me so far with insulin resistance?